I'm really delighted to introduce Kay Logan. If you haven't already seen her throughout the week, she has been with Exito since before the beginning. To be honest, none of this would have existed without Kay. On the very first grant we wrote, Carlos and I wrote, Kay went to Carlos's office to finish the grant because he was so busy, you know. She had to sit in his office to make sure the grant was done. So she has been dedicated to this from the very beginning, before the beginning. And she has a lot of mentoring expertise, and she is coordinating the mentoring program for us. So if there are any questions about mentoring, Kay's the person. So.
Okay. All right, so I had a huge pile of slides, but we're getting close to lunch, so I am going to kind of start on some very important housekeeping stuff, and I know you'll be happy about that, so I'm going to go very fast. So just stop me if I'm not making any sense. So as you know, eventually in our program you're going to have 3 different types of mentors. You're going to have a peer mentor, career mentor, and eventually when you're in a research mentor. We have 97 students in our wonderful cohort 3. We have 96, I think, in our cohort 2, and we also still have a bunch of students in our cohort 1 that are to graduate. So how do we know what is going on with all of these mentoring relationships? And how do we check in with you guys? So the way we do it is we have a system where you're going to be logging your mentoring relationships. It's really simple. It takes about 3 to 5 minutes each month. And it literally is just a log where you say, oh, this is what I'm doing with my peer mentor. This is what I'm doing with my career mentor. It's also a chance for you to say if you have questions about the program or have any feedback for the program. And so we get these logs and we actually try and be as quickly as we can, so sort of in real time every month we read them all, and they're extremely important. So they're important for a lot of reasons. One is how we monitor it. One is also how we report to our funders at NIH, which is extremely important. They really care more about mentoring than you can even imagine. It's a very high priority in science, as you've gotten the idea. So we need to be able to say stuff like, oh, gosh, you know, in our program, we have a very distinctive model with the 3 types of mentoring, which is very distinct across build sites. And we can say, we have our students spent, you know, got 100 hours of research mentoring, you know, per student and things like that. So those kind of parameters are also very important. So it's really important for us. So what ends up happening, it's really straightforward. You are literally going to have an account set for you. You see your logs, your mentor does not see your logs. The mentors also have their own system. So they're private. And you can also use it, you can put your goals in there and use it to refer. You can look at your old logs to say, oh, wait a minute, what was I working on with my career mentor? You will actually get, it's very straightforward. You will get an email reminder from me. It will have all of the information you need to fill out your log. It will become, when you don't do it, it will become increasingly more pathetic. So I want you guys to fill them out and to keep me from getting pathetic. So there will be some phases of pleading. There may be some sort of ugly, I can't go as far as threats, but there may be some sort of, gosh, NIH has to know or something. There may be something that gets, you know, it'll just get more and more desperate and they will just keep coming. So it is very important and I apologize in advance. So you'll get an email and it will have all the information. You log in. There's a landing page and usually we have some announcements on the landing page and often a lot of mentor strategies and things appear there. And as you get mentoring strategies, you can actually submit them and you know, then everybody who logs in says, oh wow, you know, there's this great strategy from one of you. Then you kind of get in and you know, it'll say which logs are there. It's pretty easy to see what the log is, and then if there's something like one you haven't done, it might be sitting there too, one where I've been whining a while. Oops. Oh. I think our slide deck cuts off, but actually that's actually pretty much it. It's that straightforward, and if you fill it out, it comes at the end of the month. If you fill it out for that month, they'll have a part for your research mentor when you're in your research placement, your career mentor and peer mentor. Once you fill it out, then it'll just come the next month. I give you guys about a week to do it. And like I said, you'll get all these reminders. So that's pretty straightforward. So that's it.
So I'll just note that the log will have, for each mentor, a question about how much contact you had in the past month. So again, like 2 hours or whatever it might be. And then some of the list of activities that you might have done with the mentor. And that's where I got the data that I shared about, was it working on advising? Was it working on data analysis? Was it working on other things? And then there's a box where you can have general comments if there are any concerns or questions about what's happening in the relationship. So again, if you say, my mentor is not returning my calls, you can put that in, or whatever the issue is. And then Kay sees that every month. So she is reading these responses. And if somebody says, hey, I'm having trouble connecting with my mentor, she'll follow up with you and she'll say, oh, gee, they changed the email address, so let me get you the new email address, or whatever it is. She does a lot of problem solving. And so that's a great way to communicate. If you have any questions about your mentoring relationship, you can put it right in the log, and Kay will be seeing it within a couple of days and follow up with you. Or you can reach out directly to Kay if it's something that seems important or urgent and you don't want to wait for the log. We want you to know that we put a lot of time into the upfront preparation, recruiting the mentors, training the mentors, making the match. But just because you're matched doesn't mean you're on your own. We think it's really important to have this ongoing support for both you and the mentor. So that's why Kay is available. This is the primary thing for her job, is to tend to the mentoring relationships and to get a monthly update from you about how things are going, so that we can be proactive, problem solving, and make sure everything is on the right track, and make sure that you know there's support for this to be successful.